Right now, Black Friday shopping euphoria has been marred by claims from Union SACCAWU. It says that some of its members were shot with rubber bullets while protesting outside a Makro in Germiston. To discuss, we're now joined by the second Deputy President, Mike Tao. Mr. Tao, tell us what happened today.
Good evening, Francis, and good evening to the viewers. This morning our members started protesting peacefully. Having acquired permission to protest, which is legally so. And later, just before lunch, we were phoned and called that the police arrived at the request of management, and all of a sudden, without any provocation, our members were shot at. Women, everyone who was participating there, even one of our regional secretary from the Wits region, while he was busy and he also fell on the van that he was climbing on top of it to address our members.
All right, so you're saying that these union members were within the law and they were acting appropriately. There was no provocation at all? Were they in the areas they were meant to be in, they were allowed to be in?
Yes. Remember, there's twofold of these two things. There's a picketing rules that we normally both parties agree upon, whether it's mediated by, conciliated by CCMA, or whether parties agree that whenever there's this action, there will be picketing rules which will restrict members where to picket, the demarcated areas and so forth. But there's section 64. Section 64, you go to section 4, you have a meeting with the local to picket without being restricted to the place where you are picketing. For instance, if your store's entrance main gate, it's just adjacent to the main road, the section 64 allows you to apply in terms of public gathering. And once you have applied for that, it's legal. You are not breaking any law. So we applied for both, and both were granted, and our members were peacefully until such time management realizing that the strike has got an effect. And then they called the police, and police, when arriving, they never wanted to listen to what leadership that was there was explaining to them. They were not interested in looking at any of the legal documents that permitted SACCAWU and her members to protest peacefully.
All right, and we'll see if we can get responses from them, but you're saying this is entirely the fault of police, who were trigger happy with rubber bullets and opened at short range despite the circumstances. So police are to blame, or they were called by Makro. Does Makro take any part in this, according to you?
We believe that they are in cahoots with management, because in Vonderboom, one of our shopsteward in Vonderboom said one of the police has, because they know each other, has tipped him that management has already arranged that once they see that the business is being disturbed, the police not to maintain peace and stability for unarmed workers. They have been shot at rubber bullet. I have seen a picture of somebody who was just standing under the tree, close range, one policeman just pumping 3 to 4 rubber bullets into his back. I mean, that is barbaric. That is something that we cannot accept in this period of democracy.
And as SACCAWU, you released some pictures today. We'll see if we can bring some of those up. But there was one person I understood that was seriously injured. Anyone in hospital, or is everybody out of hospital, maybe with injuries tonight?
By the time I come to this interview, our officials in the area of Germiston were still collating information. Perhaps maybe tomorrow by 12 o'clock, we would have more, or even tonight, we would have more information and how many are hospitalized. The report that we have got now, we have gathered now, is yes, indeed, there were those who were seriously injured and they were hospitalized. We don't know whether it was for observation or not. We are still collecting that information, and once that information has been collated and we have discussed internally, we will then inform the public as to what is happening.
All right, so let me put it to you finally, because we don't have a great line. We keep on losing you. For workers to strike initially on Black Friday at Makro, which is known for discounts, that would be hugely damaging. Was this well thought through, given that this is the company that pays the salaries? And I'm looking at some of Makro's claims saying that the core demand for a 12% increase is there, even though that workers have settled on 4.5% at Game and Builders Warehouse, calling this unreasonable, saying that the unions seem bent on protest action, no matter what. Your response?
No, but we must understand that if the company believes 4.25%, like we have settled at Game, there are two different operations here. And we were told by the company that Game is not performing, it's not been performing for some years, and they have not been able to make profit, and the COVID-19 affected so much. And hence we were sensible and settled. They must be happy that where we see that, where we hear and listen to the company, we are quick to settle, because we believe that the company's input, or the company, we are able to settle. But we can't settle where we know that the company has made huge profit, where the CEO took whooping 24 million as bonus, but those who are making profit and making sure that the boss's pockets goes home thick and big are earning peanuts. We can't just close our eyes while we know that Makro, it's one of the company within the stable of Massmart that has performed well over the years.
All right, thank you very much for that update, saying police and Makro in cahoots. Police opened unnecessarily today with rubber bullets at the Makro in Germiston. That was SACCAWU's second Deputy President, Mike Tau.